How's it going? It's Ricardo the Barber. I'm going to show you in this video how to do a regular haircut. My client here has scissors on top and he has a number 3 on the sides. So starting off, I'm going to be using my 3 guard to go all the way around the head and put my guideline in there. Just going up and scooping out just to not make any hard lines. Basically trying to clean up around his head, get all the hair around his neck and his sides, clean it up as good as possible. So I just continue that all the way around the head where I want the actual fade to be at. In his case, it's somewhere around like a mid fade, typical area. So here I pretty much got all around his head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to the scissor work. Alright. Typically wet the client's hair before I use scissors. Right now he's probably getting around 2 fingers worth, so somewhere around like an 8. So I'm going to go through his whole hair, cut it all the same length. Gonna cross cut it, just clean it up. It's a good way to double check how good you cut your hair in the first place. Get all the high spots. So now I got a number 4 guard on here. I have it open, so it's a 4.5, and I'm just scooping up and out and trying to get all the extra weight from the side of his head, cut it right off. So I'm also closing this blade, so this way it goes straight to a 4. Alright, and now I put a 3 on there, and I want it to be a 3.5. So I keep it open, I blend into the 4 that I just had, and mind you, he does have a 3 in the size, so I'm just going to work with this until this 3 is closed. So I'll probably do 3 open, 3 midway, and then 3 closed, just to knock out that, if there is any line. And I'm going to basically continue and do the same thing on his other side. So here I'm using a 4.5, combing the hair as I'm cutting it. This way I cut against the grain. I could see the fade as it's coming in. So work yourself to the back of the head as you're closing the blade, going from 4.5 back to a 4. So when you're done with that, you're basically going to do the same thing with your 3 guard. Alright, which I'm doing here. I got a 3 guard on there, it's open, knocking the hair down a bit, closing it as I'm fading down. And I fade down. Some people fade upwards. It depends on your style. I like to fade down because it's easier to not raise a blend. If you make a mistake when you're fading upwards, it could cost you. So I try to just do it the safe way, or at least what way works better with me. So here I am on the back of the head doing the same thing. 4 open, 4 close, put the 3 back on there, have it open, blend it down. Now you can cut this hair, you can blend it into the top a number of ways. This way I'm just showing you because it's probably the most typical way. You can put it between your fingers. The way I like to do it is with the comb. I like to just blend it up, let the scissors do the work, blend it in slowly as I'm moving the comb. It's the way that works good with me. There's plenty of different ways to do it. Just the way that I prefer. So as you can see, it's all coming together. It's all blended in pretty well. Same thing on the other side. It's going to be the same thing in the back, no different. You're going to get all around the head. And just be careful. Make sure you put your actual comb tilted outwards, so this way you're not cutting too much hair off. The tilting out helps you get just the ends that happen to be too long, and lets you shorten them up pretty good. So as you can see, the blend's coming together, even though it's all long hair. Keep combing it down just to get all the old, any hair you cut, get it out the way. Make sure it's not, screwing you up. I like to comb my hair or brush the hair as I'm doing fade the whole time. Okay, so from here on, we're going to do the shape up in the back. My client likes a straight line. He doesn't like, he doesn't like the the super crispy look. He likes to just have his lines done up nice, finished. So you know, you just make sure you go straight across the back. It's good to get, you know, if you put your head down to where their neck is and you look, you'll be able to see a better you know, view of what you're doing. So make sure that line's straight. From there, then you can go up around the ear. Basically, it's just a box, you know, I'm squaring it. In a lot of cases, you know, you don't want to hold that trimmer blade on the neck too much because it can hurt the client. I don't care how good you got that thing zero gapped. If you're around tender areas, it's gonna hurt if you're there too long. It's gonna get red. It's gonna happen. You know, there's no way to really change that unless you flip the blade around and use the back of the blade. So here I'm just cleaning around the ears. You want to make sure you get there good. I try to brush the hair out so this way it can expose everything that I need to cut, and then again make your cut. All right. Sometimes you got to move the ear. When I'm left-handed, so when I need to do the person's left side, I use my pointer. It'll probably take a little bit of practice to learn like that, but you could use your pinky on your right hand too if that's the case. And for you right-handed, it's just backwards. So just make sure the ear is nice and clean. He's keeping his beard, so you know, while I'm there, I might as well just finish up that line, which is what you see me doing here. I'll just continue it down where he wants it. So now it flows nice and smooth. So basically I'm moving back onto the other side, so same way the other side was. Just block that thing up, come around the ear, try to make as little contact as possible with your trimmers whenever you're around someone's neck. You know, not that you're always going to hurt them, because your blade should be set fine, but you know, it's a good habit to get into it, because sooner or later, you know, you're going to get somebody with some real sensitive skin, and yeah, they're going to be real red and burning. So back around the ear, keep it nice and clean. I'm doing the same technique as I did on the other side, no different. In this case, I'm pulling his ear down with my other hand. There's no way I could do it with one hand on this side. Brushing the hair to expose all the pieces that I need to cut, continuing it down. All right. Here I am going against the grain, just this, you know, less contact on his skin. So here, I make sure, don't forget, whenever you're cutting certain parts on a client's face or anywhere in the haircut, you got to remember the client can move. You shouldn't be ducking down or straining yourself to get to a certain part. The client can always move. All you got to do is position them where you need them. So in this case, you know, I put the seat up higher. I make sure he's sitting back in the chair all the way, and then I have him tilt his head. This way I can get where I need to get, and he gets a better haircut. I don't have to worry about trying to, you know, having a problem trying to get where I need to get. So here I am using the back of the blade again. This way there's less contact with the moving part of the blade, and you don't get irritated and hurt from it. So continue the same thing on the other side. When you get them as even as you can, and the way I like to do it is when I'm done, I'll look at him straight on. I'll have him lift his head up, and I'll say, you know, basically stay like that. I'll see where I need to adjust. I'll cut both sides, connect it to the middle, and make sure it's a perfect straight line going across. And that's big. You want to do that before you do any kind of shaping above. So this way you know everything's symmetrical and it's the same on both sides. You don't want to just be screwing stuff up. Again, the back of the blade. Keep as least amount of contact with the moving blade. So this way you don't irritate any skin. Okay, so I did connect it. I didn't have it in the video. Basically here, he doesn't like me messing with his shape up too much. I'll just lightly touch what he does have done already and connect it up to his sideburns, but I will not do his front line. He doesn't really get that square shape up that, you know, other people do like. You know, he's a little more casual look. So I'm just connecting it here and going up to the top, and continue the same thing on the other side. You know, you want to make sure, you know, either keep it natural or keep it to where they want it, you know, and keeping the rest natural. So in his case, you know, near the temple area is going to be where it's supposed to be. He likes them a little thinner than what he has, not too wide. So, you know, I'll take a little bit off in this case, but not too much. So that's what you see me doing here. I did use the razor. I forgot to videotape it, so you won't see me doing the razor, whereas, you know, the more important part is learning how to do the regular haircut and the techniques involved. So the razor's already done here in this portion. So what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up the rest of the neck. This client does not like the razor on his neck, and I don't have, you know, I would use the heated towels, but I don't have that machine that heats up the towels. So this guy is satisfied with using just the shaver, so I use the shaver on him, and then at the end I clean up the rest of his neck, and you know, basically that summed it up. You see, you know, again, nice and easy on the neck. Make sure a lot of the time, sometimes they could have little moles and stuff on the back of the neck. You got to be careful because you don't want to cut one of them. Sometimes they could bleed, you know, and not stop. That you don't want. You don't want to cut the guy. So basically, I'm you know, I already know him because I've cut his hair for a couple years now. So he had no problem with me just going straight with a razor blade. Here I am touching up his eyebrows. He typically likes me to do that. There's no need to use the trimmers beforehand. I like to go straight in with the blade. As long as you know what you're doing and you're careful, it shouldn't be a problem. Really ever. You know, a lot of people don't like using the blade on eyebrows, but if you know what you're doing, you're good. So basically lightly touching both sides. I keep them the same. And, you know, in some cases somebody might want you to do them real thin, whereas here he just likes them cleaned up. So that's all I'm doing. So, you know, I'm basically making his one eyebrow that he had, and I'm making it to two because he had a lot of hair in between them. Here, you know, lightly cleaning up all the longer hairs, keeping it all the same length. So this way later on when he, you know, he might gel his hair up, at least, you know, you won't see any long hairs coming out. And that pretty much concludes it. Here's a few pictures to show the final results. So I hope you guys like it. Throw me a comment. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed yet. And I'll definitely get back to you, though. All right? Thanks for watching, guys.